Respect your efforts, respect yourself. Self-respect leads to self-discipline. When you have both firmly under your belt, that's real power. I have a very strict gun control policy. If there's a gun around, I want to be in control of it. They say marriages are made in heaven. But so is thunder and lightning. Sometimes if you want to see a change for the better, you have to take things into your own hands. I'm not really conservative. I'm conservative on certain things. I believe in less government. I believe in fiscal responsibility and all those things that maybe Republicans used to believe in but don't anymore. God gave you a brain. Do the best you can with it. And you don't have to be Einstein, but Einstein was mentally tough. He believed what he believed. And he worked out things. And he argued with people who disagreed with him. But I'm sure he didn't call everybody jerks. I don't believe in pessimism. If something doesn't come up the way you want, forge ahead. If you think it's going to rain, it will. Whether you like it or not, you're forced to come to the realization that death is out there. But I don't fear death, I'm a fatalist. I believe when it's your time, that's it. It's the hand you're dealt. I'm interested in the fact that the less secure a man is, the more likely he is to have extreme prejudice. Winning the election is a good news, bad news kind of thing. Okay, now you're the mayor. The bad news is, now you're the mayor. I was drafted during the Korean War. None of us wanted to go. It was only a couple of years after World War II had ended. We said, wait a second. Didn't we just get through with that? Of course we all know Biden is the intellect of the Democratic Party. Kind of a grin with a body behind it. The prospect of dating someone in her 20s becomes less appealing as you get older. At some point in your life, your tolerance level goes down and you realize that, with someone much younger, there's nothing really to talk about. My uncle played rugby, and my dad played football, and they used to argue which game was the roughest, and everybody agreed rugby was. It's a great team sport, and to be successful, every person has to play in the same level. There are two kinds of people in this world. People and weak people. I've always tried to be a weak person. You have to feel confident. If you don't, then you're going to be hesitant and defensive, and there'll be a lot of things working against you. Our modern society, especially in the West, and especially now, reveres youth. When you're young, you're very reckless. Then you get conservative. Then you get reckless again. When I did Bird, it was a surprise to some people, first because I wasn't in it and second because most of the films I'd been doing were cop movies or westerns or adventure films, so to be doing one about Charlie Parker, who was a great influence on American music, was a great thrill for me. It takes tremendous discipline to control the influence, the power you have over other people's lives. Let's put it this way. There wouldn't be much point in me attending a high school reunion now because there wouldn't be anybody there. We'd struggle to raise a quorum. If you consider film an art form, as some people do, then the Western would be a truly American art form, much as jazz is. I think being able to age gracefully is a very important talent. It is too late for me. I will never win an Oscar, and do you know why? First of all, because I'm not Jewish. Secondly, I make too much money for all those old farts in the academy. I'm not a new age person, but I do believe in meditation, and for that reason I've always liked the Buddhist religion. When I've been to Japan, I've been to Buddhist temples and meditated, and I found that rewarding. There's only one way to have a happy marriage, and as soon as I learn what it is I'll get married again. Liberals are not always so liberal with people who disapprove of their point of view. I've never met a genius. A genius to me is someone who does well at something he hates. Anybody can do well at something he loves, it's just a question of finding the subject. I hate to see anybody sink. I hate to see anybody lose their dream, lose their home, something like that. My old drama coach used to say, don't just do something, stand there. Gary Cooper wasn't afraid to do nothing. I mean, I've always been a libertarian. Leave everybody alone. Let everybody else do what they want. Just stay out of everybody else's hair. Overnight stardom can be harmful to your mental health. Yeah. It has ruined a lot of people. I've always been fascinated with the stealing of innocence. It's the most heinous crime, and certainly a capital crime if there ever was one. When I was growing up, I wasn't an extrovert. If anything, I was an introverted kid and a very average pupil at school. I was very quiet. When you work with kids, especially, you want to be ready to turn the camera on at a moment's notice. My mother knew how to read music and everything. But I just kinda learned off of records. And so, I was listening to records and I'd play them over and over. My dad was a big admirer of Sergeant York's stories from the First World War. I kind of make a film for myself to sort of express myself. I read every book there was on jazz, about the original players, King Oliver, Buddy Bolden and all those groups. At one time I was fairly well schooled in that. I could tell you who played where and when, historically, way before my time. I never sympathize with the accused unless there's a chance the accused is not guilty, but I certainly don't ever sympathize with the criminal. Alfred Hitchcock once told me, when I was analyzing a lot of things about his pictures, Clint, you must remember, it's only a movie. I grew up with J. Edgar Hoover. He was the G-man, a hero to everybody, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation was the big, feared organization. He was ahead of his time as far as building up forensic evidence and fingerprinting. But he took down a lot of innocent people, too,